that said, I want to ask you this. Okay, so that's really good. That's what happens before the hearing. But what these guys are worried about, what these guys are freaking out about, what these guys are scared about is basically what's happening during the hearing and interacting with that judge. Because when I went to law school, they explained it to me as the judge is like a big tank with two giant cannons on the front. And when you're sitting there and the judge is moving those cannons, you never really want the cannons to be locked onto you for too long. So let me ask you this, okay? When in the hearing, what can a non-represented versus a represented with an attorney claimant expect from the whole process, not just the judge, but the VE, the whole process?
Right. All right. So yeah, when and it's a little lengthy, and Walter knows that I can talk a lot. So guys, I'm sorry if I'm long-winded, but I want you guys to have all of the details. I want you guys to like be prepared and know what you're getting into. So I'm gonna try to be thorough, and fast if I can. If I need to slow down, yell at me. No, please don't, but you can. All right. So basically, when we go into the hearing room, we're gonna walk in. You guys are gonna be super nervous. It's gonna be super great. No. Let me start by saying this first, okay? So I know all of these ALJs. I know a lot of them personally, in the hearing room and outside of the hearing room. Things are a little bit crazy right now, just like with everybody else, right? With the pandemic and everything. So I'm an independent contractor. So at the moment, I didn't sign a contract to provide services and all of that for an extended period. So right now, I'm considered pretty much unemployed at the moment because they are conducting phone hearings, just as Walter explained to you guys. They are doing phone hearings, but they are using in-house people right now to do the transcription. So when you guys have a hearing by phone, the people who are transcribing the hearing, who are operating all of the equipment, those mostly are their legal assistants, okay? So basically all of the independents, as far as hearing reporters, are not working right now. The VEs, they're from home. A lot of the times, even if you have an in-person hearing, a lot of times these VEs will be working from home. They have that option. The SSA is cool with it. Some judges are not okay with it. The majority of them are okay. We do have one judge in Florida that he really likes to have an in-person VE because he just feels like it's better. In-person hearings, just as Walter tells you guys all the time, it's a better environment. You guys can see reactions, see faces, see expressions. It's nerve-wracking for you guys, but it really is better system, than the phone hearings, I will say. So when we walk in, sorry, I don't know if you guys heard that. I'm getting dings from OfferUp. But so basically, when we walk into the hearing room, there is going to be, a few different seats. It's just like a hearing room that you might see on television, except it's just not as big. But there is a place for the attorney to sit you. There is an area for an interpreter or a witness or a supportive role. The VE is there, or they are by phone, is what we call Polycom. That's basically the TV system that we can have phone calls, video calls, things of that nature. And then there's me, and I'll be off to the side with my handy-dandy computer, typing my fingers away, and then there's the judge. So we're all going to sit down. There is water for you guys everywhere. Some of you guys, I know, with certain medications, you might have dry mouth, or you guys are just nervous, and so there's water there. But we're all going to sit down, and then when the judge is ready to go on the record, the judge will give an indication that they're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and start the recording. And then once the recording is started, the microphones are hot. So everything that you guys say Everything your attorney says, all of that is on the record, okay? And that's what we mean by on the record. That means the mics are hot, and, I can play back your voice and hear it later. So the mics will be hot, and I'm going to go ahead and start typing everything that is said. So in the beginning, and this is for non-rep and represented claimants, we're all going to do introductions. The judge will introduce themselves. They will introduce the vocational expert. They're going to enter, unless it's a kid case. Kid cases do not have VEs because most of them are not working. So he will be there. They'll introduce them, and then they'll introduce me. And then for non-rep, we'll go ahead and get the claimant's name and their social, just to kind of introduce themselves, and we want to make sure that the right person is before us. So basically, even though if you were a non-represented claimant and we were in that room, in the conference room, like I said before, and we went over the medical records and the judge went over any records you brought in and things like that. If you guys go into the hearing room, remember the first question that I said the judge was going to ask you was if you would like to postpone or if you wanted to waive your right to representation and represent yourself. So that's going to be the first question the judge asked. Now, if you came there and you had already had a hearing and it was a postponement, remember again, in the beginning I said that if you already had a postponement and you came back in and you couldn't find representation, then you have to go ahead and represent yourself. In that case, you will not have a form to sign or anything like that. If this is your first hearing and you're given the option to waive or postpone, then you're going to sign a form either way that has the date on it, your social, all of that, to say that you're postponing or you're waiving your right to representation. And basically, if it is postponed for representation, the moment that you sign the form, a lot of the judges will go off the record, and then you guys are allowed to leave. Now, some of the judges are different. When you guys postpone and you want to postpone, if you brought in evidence, the judge will still go over it, because in the meantime, we want to work smarter, not harder, right? So if you guys came in and you're going to postpone anyway, and there's records that we need, we're going to have you sign that medical release form, and we're going to jot down every single thing that as well. You guys are going to get another hearing, and it's going to be sent to you via the mail. Now, if you get an attorney, obviously they're supposed to handle everything for you, let you know when it is, and, all of that stuff. And I have notes, so I'm going to make sure I'm covering everything. So for non-represented claimants, if you guys go ahead and represent yourself, then we're going to go ahead after the introductions, and we're going to go over evidence as far as what you brought in, what we already have, and then we're going to go ahead and admit those into evidence. Now, you guys will have an affirmation or an oath. That's where you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. You say, I do. You raise your right hand, not your left hand, but your right hand. That's the one on the right side, not the other side. And you guys are going to swear to tell the truth. And then you guys will go into answering questions. Some of the judges do it differently. They'll introduce evidence, and then they'll swear you in, or they'll swear you in and then do evidence. And for represented claimants, and like I said, I'm going to kind of jump back and forth, but represented claimants is the same way. You guys are going to go over your introductions. The attorney will be given the chance to make an opening statement. That is what Walter talks about in some of these lives about writing briefs that take, a good amount of time, because, it's trying to take hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes, okay, and then records and all of that, and summarize it to try to, kind of introduce the claim to the judge and kind of give them a brief summary. Even though they already know what it is, they do still give the attorney the right to make an opening statement on your behalf. So you guys will, the attorney will be able to do that, and then they'll go into, again, admitting evidence into the record. Again, there's A through F. When you hear that, A through F, F is the medical records section. All the other sections, to be completely honest with you, I don't know each section by heart. Walter does, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
So, again, you guys will do the affirmation, the oath, and then if you guys did bring in any witnesses or supportive roles, the judge might acknowledge them and say, hey, you know, can you please state your name for the record? They'll state their name. And if they are a supportive role, the judge will explain, you know, what their role is, and kind of sit you in the naughty corner over there so you can't talk.
Right.
But then the witnesses, every judge is different. So you guys will have judges that will allow the witness to be in there when you guys are testifying, but for the most part, you cannot have a witness inside the courtroom when the claimant is testifying, because, you know, the ALJs want to cross, you know, reference, you know, your facts that you're giving, the testimony. So the claimant is going to go first, then you guys will have the testimony, and then they're going to bring in your witness after that. And they will swear them in as well. Everyone has to be sworn in except the attorneys and me. I don't have to be sworn in. So the vocational experts will be, and so will the claimants and any witnesses or supportive roles. And I guess I should have said, if you guys have medical experts as well, a lot of times ALJs don't really favor having medical experts give opinions or things like that. I mean, they do, but as far as in the hearing, it takes a lot of time, and you guys have to remember, and it's hard to understand this, but the ALJs are not doctors. They're not. They take into account all the medical records. You know, that's the basis of your case. That is your evidence. They are reading that, and then they are making a decision based on, you know, your medical records. But they're not doctors. So when they talk to these medical experts, they use terms that, you know, sometimes the judges may not understand or, you know, get, but they will have them if they are requested. I have had in the past where and it came, and you know, ALJs and everybody that works for the SSA, we're all human, right? So we all make mistakes, and so it could be overlooked or something, and then the judges will not have medical experts testify, just because, again, it's all about time. All these judges want to stay on time with their hearings. They want to give everyone a fair shake. You guys all have a scheduled time, so you guys have to allot time for those witnesses and medical experts and things like that. So I guess my tip would be, if you guys have witnesses or medical experts or whatever, even if you have an attorney, you know, just kind of put a bug in their ear, just like, hey, you know, just make sure that we request it. Or if you're not represented, you need to request it yourself, because we do have to give you guys more time. So then basically, then the testimony will happen. Now, if you are not represented, obviously, and you decide to go forward, the questioning is going to be between you and the judge, and the vocational expert if they are present, because you're over 18. So you guys are going to go over background questions. Background questions are as far as your living situation, where you live, what kind of house, apartment, mobile home, trailer, you know, in the woods, whatever. They'll go over if you have children, how old are they, what are their names. They'll go over where you went to school, how far did you go? Did you go to college? What degree did you get? Did you get a degree? What was your degree in? Did you have any vocational training? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, cool. Are you working now? Things like that. They just get like a general background of your history, how old you are, things of that nature. And again, this is the same for represented cases as well. Now, some of the ALJs will do the questioning, and then they'll give the attorney the chance to ask any questions that maybe the ALJ didn't. or they'll pass it over to the attorneys, and they will conduct all of the questioning, and then it'll be backwards. Then the ALJ will interject if they need to ask something, or if at the end when the attorney is, done and they rest basically with the testimony questions, then the ALJ can ask questions if they feel the need to. But the basis of the questioning is going to go background, and then you guys are going to go over your past work in the last 15 years. A kid case, obviously, we're not going to direct questions as far as work. Unless they're 16, then like me, and I was, a bagger at a really cool grocery store and super cool at 16. They might ask you questions about work, but for the most part, they don't. They gear it towards how you are in school. What grades are you making? Do you have friends? Do you socialize with friends outside of school? Do you have friends in school? Do you guys get along with your teachers? Do you not get along with your teachers? Why not? What's your favorite subject? What's your least favorite subject? Why is it difficult for you? Those sorts of things. That's the questions for the kid cases. But for 18 and over, we're going to ask you guys questions about your past work over the last 15 years. And then it'll go to medical impairments, all the medical impairments that you guys have that are, in the record. Now, I don't know about this, Walter, but I'm gonna try to go on a limb and say it. But as far as medical impairments, I can't tell you guys enough that I know that you guys have medical impairments that are there in the records, but sometimes, you guys bring up on your attorney like new news, right?
Yeah.
So the attorney's like, I haven't heard of this so far. But you guys will be sitting there and you'll be like, yeah, I think my doctor, I'm pretty sure he told me I had lupus the other day. Like, I'm pretty sure.
It's always lupus.
Pretty sure.
Always lupus.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Every time.
God.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I think I was diagnosed with lupus the other day. Now, if it's not in the record, the judge is going to beat you up. Well, it's not in the record. Where is that? What page? What doctor who said that? And blah, blah, blah. So, if you guys have medical records, don't go, you always have to tell the truth, right? You took an oath to tell the truth. So be honest. You guys are there for a reason. You guys are there because you need this. And you guys have, disabling impairments. You guys, you have those, or else you wouldn't be there. We're attorneys. They know it. They've seen it all. They've heard it all. They know when you're lying. They see it. Okay. So, don't add more to your case unless it's, necessary. Then, they're going to ask you about your medications and your side effects. Now, sometimes for non-represented claimants, these judges, I hate to say this, Walter, I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to say it.
Be gentle. Be gentle.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
A little bit of cashmere. A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm petting myself right now. Like, okay, it's all right.
Make it okay.
All right, all right. So with the side effects and stuff, these judges, oh man. All right. So some of these judges are great. Okay. I love all of them. I do. I love some more than I do others, but it's okay. We're cool.
Yeah.
It's nice. Whatever. But, some of these judges, when you guys are not represented, they may not ask all the questions that they need to. And it's going to be up to you guys to bring everything forward. Remember, this is like Independence Day, right? Like this is a day for you guys to, get everything that you need and prove your case and everything like that. If you're not represented, watch Walter's videos. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Watch Walter's videos. Watch his playlist. And I'm being dead serious. You guys have to understand that while these judges do want to help you out, there are some that will not go over everything that you should be telling them, and it can be taken advantage of. The fact that you guys might not remember everything to say because of the atmosphere you're in, because you're going to be nervous. You're not going to remember everything. it just happens. So if you guys are not represented, please watch Walter's videos and take notes, and and put your best foot forward for yourself, because you guys are the people who are going to protect yourselves the most. No one's going to have your back like you have yourself. Okay, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So, they're going to go over medications and side effects, and then they're going to go over your functional capacity questions, which are: how long can you walk before you feel the pain? How long can you stand before you need to sit down? How long can you sit? How long can you bend? Can you go upstairs? Can you reach? Can you manipulate your fingers to pick up quarters off of the table? Things like that. They're going to go over those questions. And then they may ask trick questions. Now, I added this in there just because this is just a tip I think all of you guys should know. They may ask trick questions regarding your opinion of doing a job that may be more sedentary and easy. So be ready with the answer to that question as to why you can't do that. What I mean by that, and here's an example. I have a judge. I won't say what state, but I have a judge, and he will ask you, okay, so your past job was as a construction worker. Okay, well, how about, can you just maybe do a simple job where you just sit down at a desk and you put pins in a box? Now, guys, it's really hard for me not to laugh every time he says this, because I'm like, who in the hell has this job where you just put pins in a box?
Right.
But he will ask you that. These judges will ask you these crazy. You're like, where's that job? Where can I find that on Indeed? I'll apply right now. No, there's no pins in the box job. Okay, there's just not. But they will ask you this question, and then you have to have an answer as to why you can't do that simple, repetitive kind of job. And they will ask you that. Most all of them do. Okay, they're going to ask you some sort of sedentary job to see if you can do that, and you have to have it. So be thinking about that before the hearing, please, during the hearing. Because you can't sit for an extended period, because you can't manipulate. You have arthritis and you're in pain after 15 minutes, or you have to elevate your legs, or you use a cane or a walker, blah 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 blah. Be thinking of that, because they will ask you that. And then they're going to go into the VE testimony for past work. The VE is a vocational expert. They have done a study of every job that you've had, and then they classify it as far as past work, what you did, what skill level it was, whether it's light, sedentary, heavy, very heavy. And then they'll give, a DOT number to categorize that job. After they go over the past work from the VE, then the ALJ is going to go over hypotheticals. And this is where it's basically the testimony. This is the back and forth between ALJ and VE. If you guys have an attorney, the attorney is actually not going to talk at that point, and neither are you. You guys cannot talk during the ALJ VE testimony part. The attorneys are given the option to, cross-examine the VE at the end of the VE testimony, but not during it. So a hypothetical is basically, it's like they're giving a person, they're giving a hypothetical with restrictions that someone with your sort of limitations could perform or not perform. So they're going to ask, let's take a claimant with the same age, educational background, blah, blah, blah. And let's say that they can pull 20 pounds occasionally and 10 pounds frequently, and they can stand and walk for 6 hours in an 8-hour workday and sit for 2 hours. They're going to give all these kinds of different restrictions, and then the vocational expert is going to then respond and say, no, they cannot perform their past work, or yes, they can. And then if they can't perform their past work, are there any other jobs in the national economy that they can perform with those restrictions? Now, there will be maybe one hypothetical, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of up to the judge. They will give different hypotheticals, and then for each one, they will ask the vocational expert if they are able to perform those jobs, or I'm sorry, if they're able to perform a job or not. And then when that is over, the non-represented claimants are given the option to cross-examine the VE. Now, a lot of times when a non-represented claimant is there, you guys have no idea what just happened. None. Not a clue. You're like, who are you? I know I heard your name, but I have no idea who you are to the VE. And, how can you say I can't do a job? I can't even bend over and pick up my cute little shadow dog. So you guys have no idea what just happened. I mean, I just explained it to you now, but, you guys are able to cross-examine the VE at that time, but you guys are not going to ask it in sort of vocational terms. And that's okay. The judge will take your question and they will turn it into a vocational term, hypothetical to the VE, should you wish. But then if you're not asking any questions and you have an attorney, then the attorney has the option to cross-examine the VE. And they will. And they will go to town sometime. So after that's done, and then we'll go over the closing to the hearing. The non-rep cases, depending on if they brought in evidence or they didn't bring in evidence, it will go to what we call post status. A post status is where the judge is going to take time to make a decision because we have to request records on your behalf. The case can go to post for a represented purpose. If there are, records missing that the attorney tells us that we need to get or we need to wait to get, then, the judge will give the attorney, okay, I'm going to give you 14 days for you to submit those. So the judge will thank you for your time. The judge will go over, if you guys move, please notify your attorney. Please notify us of your address change so that when we mail the decision, we mail it via, USPS. So we mail it to you. We don't call you. We're not like, hey, you won. We're not, it's not like that. So it's all by mail. So make sure that you guys have your address up to date with your attorney and with the SSA, please. And then that's it. And then you guys can breathe, and you guys will be breathing. Like through the middle of it, you're going to realize that the judge is just a person like you, and that they're human, and you guys are going to feel more relaxed towards maybe, middle to end of it. You guys are going to feel relaxed. You're going to feel fine. But in the beginning, you're going to be nervous. And Walter always tells the claimants that I promised them ice cream and lobster and all of that.
It's true. I lied to them. I lied to the claimants straight to their face. I promised them ice cream, at least a steak, and some sort of fish-oriented food. Maybe a crab, but I don't go too exotic because I know nothing about that kind of food. So you're getting vanilla ice cream if you push me, though. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing. Guys, yeah. Walter's favorite ice cream is vanilla. I don't know what is wrong with him.
It's true. Vanilla bean.
Someone help.
It's amazing.
Someone help.
I do like Rocky Road. I don't want to get too complex with my ice cream. I'm going to have a good time. I want to have, So,
all right. Well, let's not let all the viewers know all your gland secrets.
my secrets. The secrets of life. Yeah, it's true. All right, well, I want to ask you this.
All right.
So they do the hearing. They do the outro to the hearing. The judge thanks them for coming in. Thank you for being part of the hearing process. And the judges will almost always, unless you're a total nicely put schmutzy person to the judge, the judge will always say, hey, guys, thank you so much for coming in, for being present today, for taking part of this process. The judge will always make it a positive experience for you, even if they're going to deny you.
Correct.
Right. So even if they're going to just stick it to you, and they're not really sticking it to you, because keep in mind, they have to stick to this code, and everybody Everybody gets really emotional about their impairments. They say, "Oh, of course I'm disabled." They have to stick to this code of, principle, elements, evidence, all these things. So they just have to stick within that. So I want to